In today's society, many people have a different perspective or definition of what a sorority is. Some people think sororities value social life and partying, but to see what it really means to be a part of an organization is to observe and partake in it. One organization that really means a lot to me and that I take part in is a sorority. The name of my sorority is Alpha Phi. Alpha Phi was founded 147 years ago in 1872 at Syracuse University by 10 influential women. Some of these women are Martha Footcrow, Clara Burdett, Jane Sarah Heigman, and Ida Gilbert Houghton. Today, over 172 active chapters of Alpha Phi are spread across the country. Alpha Phi is a very well-known and strong national chapter with over 250,000 initiated women members. The values of Alpha Phi's founders are very similar to what they are now. Alpha Phi was built on 6 core values being character development, sisterhood, scholarship, service, leadership, and loyalty. These values are still the same today and are taught to members to uphold and follow throughout all national chapters. This brings me to talk about more things that make Alpha Phi unique and what it is today. Our chapter is recognized by many key symbols and artifacts. Nationally, our key symbol is the Ivy Link. The Ivy Link represents union and friendship. The Ivy Link also represents a connection that all Alpha Phi sisters have across the country, even if they go to different schools. Next is our letters, the A of Alpha and the Phi symbol. Alpha Phi's colors are silver and Bordeaux. Alpha Phi's national motto, created by our founders, is the union hand in hand. Symbols also depend on the chapter too. Symbols can be different based on the university of that chapter. The look of houses can vary, and also chants and songs that are sung during recruitment events vary as well. For example, the Alpha Phi chapter at the University of Iowa is a tall blue house. The Alpha Phi chapter at the University of Arizona is a Spanish colonial-style house. Assumptions. Assumptions are something that take place in every organization. When talking about assumptions in Greek life, assumptions members have each vary depending on what university chapter you are a part of. For the chapter I have been a part of and observed for over 2 years now, the assumptions are pretty clear and consistent. The assumptions I have in my chapter at the University of Iowa are to attend chapter meetings on Sunday nights and philanthropy events. This is just a basic mindset while being a part of a chapter and a natural routine. It is also assumed to follow chapter bylaws and traditions. It is also assumed that some of our traditions, mottos, and sayings we learn at initiation are kept confidential. It is also expected of members to respect one another. Alpha Phi and sororities in general have changed greatly in the past 100-something years. Sororities have gained some negative connotation with them due to media. It really takes observing one to know what it actually means to be in a sorority. A lot of people see what is portrayed in movies and TV, but that is not always the case. Alpha Phi has changed in some positive and negative ways. Since 1872, the Alpha Phi chapter has grown tremendously. Alpha Phi is very well known and recognizable. New positions and appointed positions are added due to bigger chapter numbers and new events and traditions that sororities have gained. Negatively, throughout the last decade, some of sorority women of Alpha Phi have not followed the founders' values. Some chapters have been terminated and some on suspension for drinking or bad content on social media. Media has a huge impact on Greek life as a whole, so that is one way that sororities have negatively changed since 1872. So what is on the screen now is an organizational chart. So starting with the top of the chart, that is our nationals. Nationals oversee every single Alpha Phi person, president, Panhellenic. They set the standards and rules for what Alpha Phi is supposed to uphold. Under nationals is the Panhellenic Council of the university. So Panhellenic is supposed to follow nationals rules for each chapter, but Panhellenic is also above our advisors and ELCs of Alpha Phi. But going back to Panhellenic, they are the communicator between all of Greek life to our chapter. We go to them if we have a problem, and they can communicate it to our nationals. Now going down to our advisors and our ELCs, which is our educational leadership consultant, they are in charge of talking to Panhellenic and then bringing it to the chapter president. This is just kind of the communicator between Panhellenic and the chapter president. The ELCs and advisors, they also talk to nationals too and communicate everything with the chapter president. Sometimes the chapter president can go to Panhellenic or nationals themselves, but it's usually through the advisors. The advisors also help the president run things. They make sure the president is doing a good job themselves and other executive boards. So this brings me to talk about the president of our chapter. The president is pretty much the head of the executive board, and she represents our chapter. She is the face of our chapter, and she represents us at meetings and other events at the university. Next to the president is 3 positions that are under her, but they are not on the executive board. These are known as appointed positions. So they are not any higher than any person on exec, but the president is specifically in charge of these appointed positions. And these are called guard, marshal, and historian. Going back to the executive board, there is 6 other positions on Alpha Phi's exec board, and this is the same positions throughout each chapter. So for example, Alpha Phi at Indiana University has these same positions and titles. Appointed positions may vary depending on the school, but exec board is very similar. So starting to the left is the VP of Membership Recruitment. She runs all recruitment activities and is the leader during recruitment season. The appointed positions under her are Director of Formal Recruitment and Director of Target Membership. Next is VP of Community Relations. This is our philanthropy chair pretty much. She runs all of our philanthropy events like Red Dress Gala and any fall philanthropy we have. And she makes sure that Alpha Phi members are volunteering and upholding community standards. Under VP of Community Relations is the Director of Philanthropy. This is pretty much her assistant. And then underneath the Director of Philanthropy is the Pancake Chairman, Red Dress Chairman, and Director of Campus Affairs. So these 3 are all under Director of Philanthropy, which is the Community Relations Assistant. Next is VP of Academics and New Member Education. This woman is in charge of all new members and making sure Alpha Phi's academics are up to standards. So if a girl is failing or getting a D in a class, she'll meet with this woman, and she makes sure that everyone's grades are good and that they're meeting their study hour requirements. And she's also in charge of educating the new members on what our morals are, what it's like to be an Alpha Phi, and she's also in charge of planning our Big Little Reveal event, which is a really important event that we have each year. Underneath this woman is Academic Chairman, Director of Bid Day, and Watchman. Next is the VP of Risk Management. So she is in charge of making sure our social media is up to standards, no girls getting hurt at a social event, and making sure we're representing Alpha Phi in a good light. Under her is the Director of External Events, who plans our events with other chapters on campus, and the Director of Internal Events, who is in charge of planning our date parties and other Alpha Phi related events. Then the VP of Finance, which is pretty self-explanatory. She's in charge of making sure everyone is paying their dues and is in charge of everyone's financial plans. Under her is just her finance assistant. And then lastly is the VP of Marketing. She's in charge of running Dad's Weekend, Mom's Weekend, making sure our social media is up to par, and is just in charge of public relations and marketing Alpha Phi in a cool light and making sure new members know about us. Under her is the Director of Social Media, who runs our Instagram and other social media pages, Director of Public Relations and Alumni, Dad and Mom's Weekend Chairman, and then Merchandise Chairman, who is in charge of all our shirts, which is a way of marketing. So that is just a brief overview of all the executive positions and appointed positions and who's in charge of our exec board. While observing and learning more about this chapter, I have key questions I want to be answered. I really wanted to know if the supposed values actually come into play at meetings and other events. Other questions I want answered are, what is the typical day of being an Alpha Phi? How has holding a position in Alpha Phi impacted your life? I would ask an exec member that. How does the history and traditions of Alpha Phi impact your decisions about your position? What is the hardest part about being an Alpha Phi? What is your favorite part about being an Alpha Phi? How do you communicate problems in the chapter? Why did you want to run for a position in Alpha Phi? Why did you think members should? What is unique about Alpha Phi? What do you want out of being an Alpha Phi? What is one thing you wish to leave an impact on in Alpha Phi before graduating? I plan on finding out information and the answers to my questions while observing when taking these place in events. Ways I could observe is during recruitment and chapter meetings. I can also speak to our executive members and other appointed positions that I explained earlier.